It's the start of Summerween. I could not be more excited. It's actually literally like 12:36 a.m. on July 5th. I'm not awake because of Summerween. Honestly, I could be, but I'm not. I'm actually awake because I just finished writing and editing a sample that I need to turn in for a job interview for next week, for a technical writer position. So I had to write on a specific topic and I'm turning that in. Just finished it, realized that it's the 5th and that Summerween is starting, and decided to go ahead and kick off the vlog because, like, why not? I'm very awake at 12:30 in the morning. So I went ahead and grabbed all the books so that I have them within arm's reach for the week and I can hopefully get through all of them. I am replacing one book on my list, but I'll run through them real quick. I've got Night of the Mannequins for the summer vibes or set in the summer prompt. I've got Ling Hun by Ai Zhang for, let me remember what the prompt was. Brain is not working at optimal levels at 12:30 a.m. but here we are. For Read a Book in the Darker at Night. So I could technically read this one right now. I'm not going to. I'm gonna go to bed. But that's that one. And then I've got Loot by Jennifer Thorne for Read a Book with a Night Sky or any sky on the cover. I think this is kind of a night sky, so it's the closest thing I had. And then I have The Final Girl Support Group by Grady Hendrix for a book with 5 or more words in the title. And then I was originally going to read The Hole for read a thriller or horror, but I actually just had a hold come in on Middle of the Night, and I want to go ahead and get it listened to so that I can return it back to the library because there are tons of people waiting. Also, I've been eagerly anticipating this book. I've been enjoying Riley Sager's recent work a lot more than his older stuff, so I'm really curious to see how I'm going to feel about this, especially since it has his first male protagonist. So gonna be swapping that one in instead of reading The Hole, although if I get a chance I may also read The Hole because I'm really interested in that one. So there we go. It's 12:30 a.m. This is the stack for the week, and I'm gonna go get some sleep before I get started. It's daytime now. It's actually like 2:30 in the afternoon. I finished editing my thing last night, got up really early this morning and gave it like one more read through, fixed a couple other small things, turned it in, and went back to bed and didn't get up until almost 11 a.m. So, had a bit of a late start. It's like 2:30, but I am gonna start reading now, and I think I'm gonna kick things off with Night of the Mannequins, just because I think I want to start with something short and go ahead and, oh, hi Pumpkin. Cat butt here. Let's see if we can, there he is. I want to have something kind of short to start with and have like an early win, I guess. So I think that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna read Night of the Mannequins and hang out with Pumpkin because he clearly wants attention. And yeah, check back in with you guys when I finished it. Apparently it's baby time. Sir? Sir? No. Pumpkin. Don't. Pumpkin buddy here. Try to throw my camera into the floor. He's a sweet boy, but he is a little bit of a stinker. Yeah. Hi, buddy. And we have another friend over here. Let's see if I can get down here without him being like, what are you doing? Ellie is hanging out. Yeah. He's got a little blankie over him because I was actually sitting with him and I had to get up for a minute and he was not moving for anything. So he's got the blankie kind of pooled around him and he is very cozy, very happy. I have managed to get, if I can get a hold of the book now, halfway through Night of the Mannequins. And I'm really intrigued at this point because this is going in directions that I was not expecting, but it's really interesting. So we're following Sawyer, and he and his friends sneak a mannequin into the movie theater where another friend of theirs works as a part of a prank kind of in their senior year. But the prank goes awry in a weird way, and Sawyer is increasingly convinced that the mannequin is coming after him and his friends. And it's kind of about how he's dealing with that situation. And it's really interesting. It's not what I was expecting. I'm curious to see what the ending is going to be like because it's gone directions I wasn't expecting, and I'm liking it so far. I'm enjoying Sawyer's perspective, and it's very like unsettling where you're like, no, oh no, Sawyer, please don't do that. And then he's doing the things that you don't want him to do, and I'm just finding that like a really interesting reading experience. So I'm enjoying it so far. I am gonna have to take a break though because I've developed a headache and I'm gonna try and get rid of that for a little while, but I do anticipate finishing this later today and I'm really enjoying it. So really a fun start to the readathon, and I had lots of cat buddies with me while I've been reading, so it's been like a very chill afternoon. I restarted Shadow of Mordor. This was a bad idea. I've not been reading, I've been playing lots of Shadow of Mordor. I am still working on Night of the Mannequins. Today was just busy, did a lot of socializing today, but I did get to go to a bookstore and I have one new book to haul. So I got Dark Archives by Megan Rosenblum, which is a nonfiction about books bound in human skin. I thought it sounded interesting, so picked this one up. This is kind of a treat to myself for finishing the big writing task I had this week, and I'm really excited to dig into this one, so I'm hopeful I'll get to it soon. I'm just really bad about not getting to my nonfiction, but that is a goal I think I'm going to try and tackle in the latter half of the month. That said, I'm gonna go do some more not reading for a little bit. I need to do some research for my aunt and uncle. They each had a couple of things that they were wanting some help with, so I'm gonna go look up a few things for them, send them some information, and then probably it'll be bedtime after that. So hopefully tomorrow will be more of a reading day. It took me way longer than I anticipated to read Night of the Mannequins, given that it's only 130 pages, but I feel like I need to preface my discussion by saying that that extended reading time is not as a result of my enjoyment of the book. The lighting has gone very weird, so let me get my computer turned on so that we can have some front lighting. But yeah, my enjoyment was not the reason that this took me a long time to read. It was me not prioritizing reading, which I should have been doing, but I was playing lots of Shadow of Mordor and Fortnite with some friends, so like I've been socializing instead. So, you know, I don't regret that at all, but this did take me longer than I anticipated. That said, I am giving it 4 stars. I really enjoyed this. I think this is one of the most unsettling books I've read from Stephen Graham Jones. Like, a lot of his books have a supernatural element where it's scary, but it's not necessarily like realistic scary in quite the same way. At least the ones that I've read. Like, Mongrels has werewolves. The Only Good Indians has a supernatural element. So like of his novels, they've had that. Mapping the Interior, which I read recently, is like a ghost story and has a supernatural element. This one goes much more, it has a supernatural element, but it goes much more realistic in its horror, and I find it very unsettling to read. There were some sections of this where I genuinely had to put the book down because it was getting to me how like creepy and unsettling the stuff that was happening was, and how easy it would be for something similar to happen in reality. And I don't want to say too much about what that thing is because it's such a short book and it's really good, and I think you should just pick it up if it sounds at all interesting to you. It being about some friends who had a mannequin that they're using for like this one last prank before their senior year of high school, and the prank goes horribly wrong. If it sounds interesting, I think just pick it up because it's really weird and it's very different from what that premise suggests, but I think in a really interesting way. So yeah, I really enjoyed this. I think my only criticism is that there is kind of a mental health aspect of this that I would have liked to see discussed more. We get this kind of offhand comment that one of the central characters has been off his medication for a few days, and that medication, we're told, helps him with his anxiety, makes him less jittery, but we're also in his head for a lot of the book, and it's clear that whatever is happening there goes beyond just like anxiety. Like, it's clearly not just like an anxiety medication. I'm not sure, I'm not going to diagnose anybody. I'm not sure exactly what's going on there, but I really would have liked to see that discussed more or explored more, because I feel like it's used as a framing device for what's happening, but I don't think it really gets dug into as much as it could be. That said, still really enjoyed it. I say that said a lot, don't I? Anyway, still really enjoyed it, would highly recommend it, and I'm excited that I finally got to it because it's been on my shelves for quite a while, and I think I've just kind of been putting it off because there were some mixed reviews when it first came out, and I was like, I know I'm probably gonna love it because it's Stephen Graham Jones. I've not read anything from him that I didn't end up enjoying, but I was kind of putting it off for a little while just out of fear that I wasn't going to love it as much as I usually do enjoy his work. But obviously fears were unfounded. I really enjoyed this and I'm glad that I finally read it. Moving on from that, I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to read next. I think I am going to go ahead and start Middle of the Night by Riley Sager because I have this as an audiobook. And I think it's like 11 hours, so it's probably going to take me about 5.5 hours to read. I usually listen to his audiobooks at 2 times speed. He gets a lot of very like slow narrators, which I actually like because once I get it to 2 times speed, that's more like speaking speed for me. And it means that I get through the book a lot faster, and I find it just a like more enjoyable way to read a thriller. So I really enjoy listening to his books as audiobooks. So I'm going to be reading that. I think I might do some knitting at some point today and listen to that for a little bit. But for my next physical read, I'm not 100% sure on this, but I think I'm probably going to go with the Final Girl support group next for that 5+ word title prompt. And Middle of the Night is for the read a thriller or horror book. But I think I'm gonna go with this one next just because it is the longest of the physical books that I have, and I would like to give myself a few days to kind of get through it. And then I probably will have plenty of time to get through like Loot and Ling Hun, which are both fairly short. Loot's like 200 pages. It's the longest of the ones that will be remaining after Final Girl support group, but I feel like if I can get through this, I'll have plenty of time for these. So I think that's kind of my next goal. This is a book I've started before for a project I was working on. I was highlighting and tabbing it. I may take these tabs out. Obviously, these are irrelevant now from many years ago from a read through that I never finished. But I do want to give this one a shot because having started it, not finished it, I feel like this should be the first Grady Hendrix that I finish, right? Especially because I think this one gets a lot of mixed reviews. I haven't seen a lot of like really glowing reviews for this one. But I think I've seen more good reviews for the other Grady Hendrix books I've had on my shelves. So it also feels good to like start where I feel like I'm probably going to like his work the least and move upwards. So I think we're gonna go with that. I'm not sure what to expect with the latter half of the book. I read about half of this and I was just slumping really hard at the time. This was for a project I was doing for like Halloween time where I was gonna be reading a bunch of Final Girl books. I was planning to read this one, The Final Girls by Riley Sager. There we go. And also The Last Final Girl by Stephen Graham Jones. And I started here because it was the longest and I never finished it. I did end up reading The Final Girls a few years ago. I didn't love it, but that project is basically like never gonna happen. Obviously now that I've already read The Final Girls, it's the book that I was gonna read for it is gone. Yeah, I'm excited to get to this one. I think I am probably going to enjoy it fairly well because I was enjoying it up to the part that I had read. I just really need to like restart and refresh my memory because I don't remember much of this book at all because that was like 2020, I think. I forgot just how fast-paced this book is. I'm not at the 50% mark yet, but I did fly through 70 pages yesterday, and I didn't really spend all that much time reading. It was one of those like gross rainy days yesterday, and I was really sleepy, so I didn't read very long. Ended up actually baking brownies instead, and I still got through 70 pages, so went pretty well. I am hoping to do a lot more reading today. I've got some interview prep I need to do, so that's going to kind of take precedence, and then this afternoon I'm going to be co-working with a friend of mine where we're both working on job applications, so that's all very exciting. But I think the rest of my time today I'm going to spend just reading and trying to get through this book so that I can finally finish it, because it's been partially read on my shelves for several years now. I want to say I started it in like 2020 or 2021, so looking forward to finally having it finished. Yeah, I forgot how fast-paced it was and just totally flew through it yesterday, so I'm excited to see how far I can get today. Okay, so I am just past the halfway point of the Final Girl support group, and I just got to a twist that I didn't read last time. So the last time I read, I got to like page 166. That's about where my last tab is, and like the next page over is like not a chapter break, but like a break within the middle of a chapter, and I'm pretty sure that's where I stopped reading because I don't remember anything after that. I read like 8 more pages and a twist happens that I was not expecting based on the stuff that happened prior to it, and now I need to know what happens next. Unfortunately for me, it's like almost midnight and I need to go to bed because I have an interview tomorrow, but I cannot wait to read more of this. I really need to know what happens. If I am understanding what just happened correctly, a character who is set up to be pretty sinister and awful is doing something that is not sinister and awful and is actually like positive. So I'm really interested to see where that's going if I've read that correctly. It's also possible that I've misread that and what he's doing is also like sinister and awful. Interested to see where this is going. I've remembered pretty much everything that had happened. It was good though, I think, to reread it and to remember all the details because there are like a lot of details, a lot of character relationships, and I also wasn't sure like which woman in the book corresponded to like which movie, because when I first read this I was not as into horror movies and not as familiar with classic horror movies as I am now. I'm still not like totally familiar with them, but I think I'm picking up a lot more of the references. I've seen more of them and I know more about the ones that I haven't seen than I did the first time I read this. So I am picking up more of the references, kind of understanding what's going on a little bit better for each of the women's backstories. And yeah, I think I'm just having a better time with this than the last time I tried to read it. I think I was in a slump the last time I tried to read it, and I am glad that I've taken the time to reread that first half and remember like what's going on and kind of where I left off at. So now everything from this point forward, I'm on page like 175, is going to be new to me, and I'm just really excited because I'm enjoying this again. There's a few things that I don't think make a lot of sense, but it seems like they're all set up for other things, so I'm interested to see how this play out and see if they actually do get like the follow through I think they're intended to have. There's some setup with like some things that happen where I'm like, I don't think that's how that works. But it seems like it might be set up for something that's going to like be revealed in the latter half. So I'm going to be keeping my fingers crossed that that stuff kind of gets explained, and we'll see what happens next. For now though, I need to go get some sleep and prepare for my interview tomorrow. I did some prep today and I'm going to do a little bit more first thing in the morning, and my interview is like in like the mid-afternoon. So gonna do some more prep, then take some time probably to just kind of read and try to relax a little bit so I don't go too anxious. I had an afternoon interview a couple of weeks ago, and having all that time beforehand just gave me too much time to get anxious, and my face was a beet red the whole time. I was just like flushed red, and I kept stumbling over my words, and it went fine. I got a second interview for that one. Actually, that was the other thing that happened for me today, was I got a notification letting me know that I've made it to the next round of interviews and they're going to be scheduling those soon, and they just wanted to check in with me and make sure I was still interested in moving on to that next step. So got that today. So clearly it went fine despite my kind of stumbling over my words. Yeah, things are kind of moving forward and I'm really enjoying this book. But I'm gonna go get some sleep so that I can be productive tomorrow and hopefully finish the last half of this book tomorrow as well. I might be a little bit hoarse this morning, I'm not sure yet. It's like almost 11 o'clock, it's 10:40, but I woke up fairly late. I had a very exciting day yesterday and ended up staying up hanging out with some friends, playing Fortnite and such, but I haven't done any reading. We'll get to that. There's a reason for it. There's a good reason for it. But yesterday I had my second interview with a company that had a job open that I was really interested in, really excited about. And I'd done a writing task for them. I think I mentioned that maybe at the beginning of this vlog, that I was finishing up a writing task and turning it in, or had just done that. So it was for this job that I was interested in. And had my second interview yesterday. I felt like it went really well. I really liked the team. And then they'd said that they would get back to me by like the end of the week. So I was expecting to hear by like Friday. They called me back less than 3 hours after my interview, and the call was kind of like, I'm just calling to let you know I'm about to email you this, but we're offering you the job and I'm sending you the draft compensation information and all of our like benefits package info. So, you know, can you let us know by the end of the week if you want to accept it? So that was very exciting, and I spent most of yesterday calling people to tell them I'd gotten an offer. Various like family members who were, you know, wanting me to keep them in the loop, and then also reviewing that information and making a decision. I have decided to accept it, so I'm very excited about it. I'm really looking forward to this new job. I think it's going to be really interesting, and it's going to be a challenge, but like a challenge that's going to help me grow and give me an opportunity to like learn a lot. And I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be great. Also, it just has some really great benefits for me in that like it's fully remote, which is awesome. I wasn't expecting to find that. The pay is in the range I was hoping for. The team itself is like very nice and very invested in collaboration, which is something that I appreciate and enjoy, working in a collaborative environment. So ultimately I think it's going to be a really great opportunity, and it means I haven't done any reading because I've been very like vibrating from the excitement from that yesterday. So today I'm completely free. I don't have to do any more job applications. I'm just keeping an eye on my email for when I get the official offer letter that I need to like sign and send back to them. So doing that, but beyond that I don't have anything else going on. Apologies for the lighting doing that. It doesn't like when it can see the lighting from my window. So I'm gonna try and finish 2 more books for Summerween, because today is the last day of Summerween, and I have so far finished 1 book, but I am about 100 pages from the end of the final girl support group. I'd anticipated finishing this yesterday until I proceeded to like vibrate out of my chair with excitement. So didn't finish it, but I'm about 100 pages from the end of this. I'm really enjoying it, so I think I'm going to try and finish this first. And then I also want to try and read Ling Hun, which is the book I was reading for, or planning to read for the Read in the Dark or at Night. I'm not sure how I'm going to do that exactly yet, if I'm going to like try to make artificial darkness or just wait for it to be evening. But I'm going to try and read Ling Hun as well because it's not very long. Also, the formatting in it is pretty, like, you know, big margins, big text. So I feel like pretty good about my chances of being able to read both of these today. So that's the goal. I may also start middle of the night, but I don't think I'm going to finish that. Even if I listen to it at 2 times speed, it's still going to be like a 6-hour listen. So I don't know that I'll get through all of that, but I'm definitely going to try and start it because there are other people waiting for the audiobook. So I want to go ahead and get through that so that they can have that. So I think that's mostly the plan for today. I also have a couple of errands I need to run, some exciting ones. I need to go to the library to pick up a hold that I'm excited for. I've got Knock Knock Open Wide on hold, so I'm going to be reading that hopefully soon. And then I also need to go back to campus to pick up my diploma, which is in. So that's also very exciting. So that is the plan for the day. Starting out, I'm going to go get some food and some coffee. And then I think maybe we'll run our errands and then I'll come back and do my reading. So that's the plan. And I think it's going to be a good day. Well, I'm a little late. Get this up a little bit higher here. I'm a little late because it's 12:30 on July 12th. So Summerween has ended, but I have finished the final girl support group. I ran all my errands and that took me a while. Then I just kind of came back and crashed. And I was, excuse me, I've got hiccups all of a sudden now. Doing some paperwork for the job that I accepted an offer for. I had to do some, you know, like background check paperwork and stuff like that. So I was doing that and then spent some time playing Fortnite because apparently this is what I do with my time now. And finally got back to this. So I'm a little behind, but I did manage to finish this and I'm pretty happy with that. So ultimately I've only finished 2 books for the readathon, but there are 2 that have been sitting on my shelves for a long time, including one that I started like 3 years ago and never finished. So I'm feeling pretty good about that as a success. I'm happy with that. And I think for this book, I generally liked it. I'm gonna give it 3.5 stars, I think. I have some issues with a twist that takes place partway through that I think is just not set up very well and doesn't make very much sense. I like the ending. I do feel like the ending feels a little bit rushed. We have a lot of time before we get to kind of the big reveal, and then by the time we get there we have less than 100 pages left. So it felt like the ending, that resolution portion just took, not took, but like was so short. It was so like condensed into like 70 pages that, yeah, I think it just felt too quick at the end. I don't know how else to describe this. I'm very tired if it's not obvious. But yeah, generally liked this. I think there's a twist that doesn't make sense. The ending is a little bit too fast. There are some really like tense moments in here, and there's some really like, I think, interesting conversations that it brings up about like the way that we think about like women and like violence against women specifically, and the way that serial killers or mass killers sometimes end up being idolized, or the ways that like media focuses on killers rather than victims. I think there are some really interesting conversations in here. I just didn't think that the whole thing was as cohesive as it could have been, because it was just like a lack of foreshadowing for a couple of things that we get a reveal for later. So overall, not bad. Glad I have finally read it. I have heard this is not generally people's favorite Grady Hendrix book though, so I feel like I'm probably going to like one of the other ones better, because I did thoroughly enjoy this. I like the writing in here a lot, and I liked the characters, so I feel like I probably will like some of his other books as well. And I know people really like the Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires, so I might read that one next. I have that and Horror Store on my shelves at the moment, so I will be reading more from Grady Hendrix in future. So this was, I feel like, a decent place to start. So yeah, that's pretty much it for Summerween. I only read 2 books, but again, I'm pretty happy with that. Just that, it was stuff that I've been meaning to read for a long time and hadn't gotten to. So ultimately it was still a success for me, and also just a good week given that I got a job offer that I was excited about and got to accept today. Actually, I sent that email first thing this morning. So yeah, pretty good Summerween. And I'm gonna go crash now because I'm very tired. It is almost 12:40 and I need some sleep. So I will leave it here. I really hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If you have, I hope you'll consider giving it a like, maybe even subscribing to see what comes next. I'm currently posting on Tuesdays and Saturdays, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye.